So we have completed unit 1. Now we'll be proceeding with the unit 2, 3 and 4. So combine, I will be taking 2, 3 and 4. So separately, the topics from second, third and 4 will be interlinked. Maybe I'll be taking a topic from fourth unit, and again I'll be taking a topic from third unit, again from second, again I'll be switching over to fourth. So because the topics has been segregated randomly, so the linkage is between 2, 3 and 4, right? So 2, 3 and 4 is a very weightage, high weightage. So 60% of weightage is from 2, 3 and 4, right? So that you have to think about it. So let us get into the today's topic. Today's topic, let me put it more simpler because I don't want to get into more complicated. Step by step, we'll be getting into mathematical part also. So on today's topic, we'll be getting into the derivatives. It is not your maths where we want to see about the differential calculus that derivative. I'm not talking about that derivatives. It is entirely your financial derivatives I'm talking about, right? So what is this derivatives? So before getting into the term of defining a derivatives, let me give you the overall view of the derivative markets. So you should have the familiarity of how the derivative market differs from your cash market. So cash market is nothing but the stocks that you normally trade, right? So there is a difference between the cash market and the derivatives market. So there are some terminologies that you have to be more familiar with it, so that it becomes easy for us while we solve the typical broker's margin problem and all. At that time, these terms will be more important to us. Right. In the derivative market, we have some terms. Let us get into the terms. There is a term called open outcry. Open outcry system. Okay. Have people heard the term called open outcry system?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. So this is normally the trading platform where you have in before there is these are the in the earlier days where the trading was happened at the floor actually, where the brokers will be there. Okay, they will be yelling the prices right in the particular platform. Okay, it is more traditional system where traders actually they will indicate their trades through hand signals or shouting. Okay, through hand signals and shouting. Okay, even in Bombay Stock Exchange, normally nowadays we have the electronic trading system. Okay, so it is there is an match to matchmaking on the electronic trading system. There is no need for physical presence of the brokers or the traders in the arena actually. So open outcry systems, they have to be normally the brokers will be in the physically they have the brokers or the traders, only the traders will be there. So they will be present in the particular exchange floor. Okay, so physically these people will be there, so the individual persons will be there, right? So these all the people will be in the exchange trading floor, exchange trading floor where they are physically present over there, and there is the board. Okay, there is a common board which has been it's not electronic board. Normally the replacement of the scoreboard. It's like in the cricket and all, in earlier crickets and all, you have seen the scoreboard has been taken only by the hand written, right? So they'll be printed will be there. They'll be replacing it. So each trader will be yelling. Suppose he has to buy. Suppose the earlier that we have some shares. Okay, suppose he go to buy SBI shares. So he will be yelling at SBI 110. So one more trader will be so sell. I'll be selling SBI 110. He'll be yelling, and one more trader buy SBI 90. So one more trader will be telling buy SBI 110. Then one more trader will be telling buy SBI 120. So everyone will be normally yelling in the floor whenever the rate which is disclosed in the.
Sir, they'll also be showing hand signs, no, sir?
Yeah, they're also showing hand signals. Normally, those those times the traders will be hired based on their height actually. Okay, if the height of the trader is very good, then he is visible to everyone actually. Okay, mostly the tall traders are being chosen physically so that they are more visible and their hands are clearly visible, right? So they will be yelling like anything. They will be yelling like dogs. Okay, it's like cats and dogs. They'll be yelling. So when you go to a fish market and all, you don't find the everyone will be yelling over there. Okay, SBI 110, ICICI 110, 90, 110, 110, 90. It's like the chai wala when it comes to railway platform is yelling like, right? So same like that. So trading that was the open output system where physically the so matchmaking is very difficult at times because the person who yells a lot and the person who listens, then only he when the deal is suppose one person is selling buy 110 SBI, suppose he's not hearing 110 SBI again, somehow you have to sell to SBI by 90. This fellow have to interact with him. So this is the thing that it was very difficult part at those time. That was your open outcry system, right? So nowadays we have the electronic trading. Okay, so electronic trading. So electronic trading, everyone knows that it does not involve any physical locations to be present. Okay, physical exchange locations not. Rather, it involves matching buyers and sellers, matching buyers and sellers electronically via computers. Electronically via computers. Okay, so this is the typical markets actually which exist right now. It's not even in derivative market, is even in the nowadays we entirely deal with the electronic trading only. Okay, so at open coins at those times or the CBOT was there. Okay, the CBOT is nothing but the Chicago Board of Trade. Okay, and the electronic trading system was only implemented when the Nasdaq was there, right? So these two things you have to remember. These two terms is simple, very simple. The next terms is your OTC market. So what is this OTC? Okay, OTC is nothing but over the counter market. Over the counter. Over the counter market. See, over the counter market is mostly customized in nature, or I can say, put it more simple, it's a customized trading market. Customized trading market. Customized trading market. So normally here, you know the people who is the person who is going to trade to, you know the persons. Okay, so this market typically involves large trades. Okay, very large trades. Or mostly it is done over only phone. Okay. Okay, and the exchange participants have here the flexibility is more there. That is, you can switch over the prices as per your need because it is customized in the OTC market. And normally, what is the advantage of OTC market is that because if you see the trading part, which is in OTC from the year 2007 itself, in the OTC market there were about 500 trillion money was moved. Okay, so how that much amount of value of trading has been done. So 500 trillion, so $500 trillion has been done. Okay, compared to your exchange traded market. Okay, as per your exchange traded is nothing but same like your NSE, BSE and all. So those are mostly customized. No, they are standardized in nature. You cannot flexibly quote a price as per your needs. But here you have the flexibility to quote. Here the standardized price is there. No flexibility is there. So whatever the exchange list out the rates of your stock prices. That rate at that rate you have to enter the contract between the other party. That is the main context over here. So if you see the OTC is more flexible in nature, it has done so same way. If you compare with the exchange traded market, it has done business only for 100 trillion. So a lot of restrictions is there when we are going to an intermediary called the stock exchange. So when you have, suppose it's nothing but the exchange of your prices. Suppose you say that with your friend you sell SPI shares for 90 rupees, he agrees to pay you 110. So it is up to you. Okay, if you go to the exchange through exchange, right? It's like, see, you are the seller, okay, and you another person is the buyer. Okay, so there is a contract between you two only. So no intermediary will be there. Okay, so at that time, you people can automatically have the conversation at what price you will be buying. So when it comes to exchange part, okay, when it comes to exchange part, there is a stock exchange over there. So you have to sell your quote. So you have to give sell your quotation to your stock exchange that I have to sell my SPI at 120. And this person, someone person will be there, sell the buyer. You don't know who is the buyer. Normally he will be buying from the stock exchange. So the price he will be quoting to is that suppose you're going to buy at 110. So when the market prices fall below, when it comes to 110, automatically his quote will be taken over and the particular deal will be traded. So what is the difference amount? The difference amount will be the advantage which is taken by the stock exchanges. Okay, for that you have to pay the margin money also. Here there is no margin money is required because you two people are involved here. So OTC market, in the same way, it is also first it is like unorganized. Now it is converting also. It's also getting more formalized in nature. So OTC exchanges also coming up. Why? Because maybe he's selling. Say suppose you are selling 120 SBI, okay, shares to this fellow, and he says that I will buy at 110. So you show some displeasure. Okay, I'll be selling you to after 1 hour, or within 1 hour, I'll be selling you. You will be having an interaction with him, and you agree to that. Suppose he finds other party. Okay, that is other person. He says that I will pay you 130. I pay you 130 for SBI shares. So immediately you will be switching your mind within 1 hour. You will be selling the SBI shares to this person. So what is the thing it has happened over here? What will happen to the buyer or who is buying at 110? Is there any loss he's having?
Sir, he's buying for 120 and selling it for 110, no, sir?
No, the seller is going to sell SBI shares at 120. He
Yes,
has
sir.
an agreement with the buyer who is going to purchase at 110 within 1 hour. Okay, so within 1 hour, within 1 hour, the seller find out another party who is willing to buy the SBI shares at 130. So suddenly, what he changes his mind and he sells these SBI shares for 130 to the C. He is A, he is B, and he is C. So what will happen to B?
Sir, actually, if he has put an agreement with the B, then he is violating that agreement, sir.
In the OTC market, you can violate the agreement because it is customized in nature.
Oh, okay. So it's like option, sir.
Yeah, it
We
is
have
flexible
option.
only, na.
Ah,
You're only
okay.
negotiating with him, na.
Sir, then no problem, sir. He can sell it to
That
C,
you are
sir.
not setting. So what is the main concern is here there? You're not setting any terms and conditions between you. You say that within 1 hour I will be selling you SBI shares for 110. You say the buyer B says that I'll be purchasing SBI shares for 110 rupees. Right. So he'll be even he is also a cunning person. He is looking after some other party also. Who knows he'll be buying from you within 1 hour. There will be some other person will be sitting and he's really need a liquidity. Okay. So there is some other person, say person D. Okay, he cannot able to find the party who will be buying his 90 and rupees 90 SBI shares, face value of 90 what he had purchased at the time in the physical certificate. So he is looking out, he'll be finding the party. So what the buyer will be doing that this particular buyer will not care about you also. So even though within that hour he may get buy from the party B,
Sir,
right?
that
So
means for
what is
seller
the
it
thing
is
here?
profit, sir. 10 rupees.
Seller it is profit. Okay, so the buyer becomes seller, a seller becomes a buyer. So what is the main intention? What does it mean actually? If you trade in the market, what is the loss you are having over here?
Sir, actually for A it is gain only, no sir, because 120 rupees share is selling it to 120, 130
No,
to
I'm
C, no, sir.
asking you that you leave it in the, you leave it the shares in the. Can you trust the over the counter market?
No sir, no sir, no rules
When you
barred,
deal
sir.
into the trading part?
No rules, sir, in stock market, so you can't
So
trust
there is no
anybody.
trust. Okay,
Yes,
there
sir.
is no trust between the buyer and seller. So everything, the event is entirely misunderstanding only. Okay, so this is the main disadvantage of your over the counter market, right? So compared to your exchange traded, where you have to pay a particular price. Normally, even though the party will be defaulting, but the price has to be paid earlier before getting quoting your selling quote to the exchanges. You have to pay a particular margin money to the exchange. So even you run away for not doing a trade with the exchange will not bother about you. Whether you buyer, you have paid me the earlier margin money, now that's enough. Okay, so loss is who? The loss is with the person who is quoting, who has paid the margin money. So it is very dangerous that the margin money will be a lot of margin money the exchanges will be extracting from you. So that is the thing that you have to remember. So normally, even the stocks, whatever the stocks, we have two types of market where the over the counter market also you can able to have the trade. The same way the exchange or the trader you can also do that. Okay, so over the counter market mostly broker to broker or broker to trader or trader to trader. So it happens over there also, right? So you have a lot of OTC market. If you list out, you have some Reliance OTC. You have a lot of OTC markets available, right? So disadvantage. What is the disadvantage over here? We have the parties get misunderstanding, so there is no trust in this. Okay, so that is the disadvantage of your over the counter market. So next thing is that who is the users of the derivatives market? Users of derivatives market. Who are the users of derivatives market? So we already seen that there are three types of users normally. We have the hedgers, we have the speculators, and we have the arbitrators. Okay. Arbitrators, the concept we have already seen. So you know who are the arbitrators, right? So hedgers is nothing but who want to hedge the risk, hedge their risk. Speculators nothing but the persons who want to make speculative gains for the short term, right? I can say making speculative gains, making speculative gains. Then next person you have the arbitrager. You know who is the arbitrager? Who is going to make gains arising out of market inefficiencies. This is a thing, okay? Simple term what I have put you. So making gains. Okay, from the market inefficiencies. So I'm carefully choosing the word called market inefficiency, right? So market, I'm not choosing the word called market efficient, right? So market efficient, you cannot able to have the arbitrage opportunities of which is available to you in the market. So when the market is inefficient only, then only you can gain, can find the possible arbitraging conditions. So when the foreign exchange market, you find a lot of arbitraging opportunities which is available to you, where you can be an hedger, you can act as a speculator, you can be an arbitrator. So despite being there, a hedger is some specialized person. No, even you are the single person. Okay, you are the person. You are a financial manager. You could be the hedger. You could be the speculator. You could be the arbitrator. The role differs depending upon the transaction you involve in. Okay, don't assume that hedgers is some specialized person. No, you are the only person who can act as an hedger, who can act as a speculator, and who can act as an arbitrator. Right? It's up to you about how you deal in the particular market. So that is the thing you have to remember. Right? Don't assume that hedgers is some brokers, speculators some high what individuals, arbitrator some other person. No. Okay. You itself, a fund manager itself can acting as a role of an hedger, speculator, arbitrator. That you have to remember. right? So don't assume that the market's 3% are no, it's not like that. The name is given as per the contract they involved in. That is the main thing that you have to remember. Okay, when you see suppose brokers is involved in short-term gains, then he's acting as a speculator for the trader. That is the thing that you have to observe. So next difference that you have to know something is on the difference between the cash market and the derivative market. The cash market and the derivative market. So cash market, we know the normal market. Okay, so where the full payment has to be made. Okay, full payment for the asset to be purchased. Okay, full payment for the asset to be made, or if asset is purchased in the cash market. Suppose you want to buy SBI shares, definitely you have to pay. Suppose you buy 5 contracts of SBI shares of say suppose 110, you have to pay the full amount 550. Okay, so this is the full cash market in the thing that you have to purchase fully. The same way when it comes to derivative market, as I said, in the derivative markets, normally we'll be dealing with the OTC market or the exchange traded market. So suppose you're dealing with the exchange traded market, there is no need to pay the full cash. Okay, so you could give the margin money, okay, margin premium, or whether you're going to deal in the options market, you have to pay the option premium. So there is no need to pay the full payment of the asset. So if the prices of your SBI is, if it is favorable to you, then will you go and execute the particular trade. So that is the thing which is available in derivative market. So there is no need to say in the normally I can say there is no market called derivative, but for managing risk, the separate market is shown. Okay, it's like virtual thing. Virtually, you have to think that whenever you hedge a risk, it means that you're dealing with derivative markets. There is no cash market also. It is everything virtual in nature. Okay, so depending upon the transaction, the terms crops up, right? So next thing differences I can say is that it's very important. Okay, the difference is very important. 5-mark question, right? So this thing is also important. Is also 5 marks. Next difference that I can say is that there is no mark to market system. No mark to market system. Okay, there is no mark to market system in the cash market. So directly when you're paying the full asset, you will not be saying about the differences of market prices. So here mark to market is there. Mark to market. So mark to market is nothing but the margin. So when I'll be getting into the margin adjustments of brokers, I'll be explaining in detail what is the mark to market. So it is normally for adjusting your the margin money along with your broker or with your exchange. So the suppose today we have 110, then tomorrow we have 90, then it goes to 80. Once again it comes up to 88, then the 92. The price rolls out. There will be a particular margin payment has to be made. Suppose the price is higher, then the margin will be suppose 2% of margin has to be done. Suppose it is very price is very low, then 0.5%, then it is very less, then 0.02%. So depending upon the prices, the margin will also vary, right? So as per the margin money that you have to pay, then you have to see the market prices. So we have to check whether the price and margin is related or not. So there are some contexts where price and margin is not related. So we have to see about some other, there is some statistical models which is available where how far the margin money is derived. So we'll be getting into later. Then here the market is for, so for whom the cash market is, it is for the users or investors. The market is for the users or investors. The cash market is for users or investors. You remember that. That is very important. Next thing, this market is for whom? Derivative market is for you, for hedgers, speculators, and the arbitrators. It's not for users or investors. Normally, see, if you are the user, you are the investor, you have holding of say 20,000 in SBI shares, and why should you go and live in derivative markets? It will entirely operate opposite compared to what your cash market is. You will lose your entire money in the margin itself. So why you should go and unwantedly go and lose your money? So now people will be, so derivatives like I can say it is exposure of risk, right? It's very dangerous. You can say it has even crashed the entire exchange prices actually, right? So it's a dangerous thing to do that when you go and do and trading F1 now, okay, futures and options. Then here the transactions, how far, so right, right, okay. So on the market, users and investors are there. You have the hedgers, speculators, and arbitrators. Then one more example, right? Transactions. Let me talk about transactions. Transactions or delivery based transactions or delivery based. So you have heard the term called DVP basis. Have you heard that? Delivery versus payment. Okay, so that is a thing which is done in cash market. Then in this transaction, normally it is only cash settled, not DVP basis. Normally here we don't have the transfer of any shares over in the derivative market. So let me, as the lecture progress, I will know why I'm talking like that, right? So here the cash is only settled whenever the transaction is done. So here the underlying is nothing but the underlying index or the underlying asset. It's nothing but your tangible assets. Okay, which market normally trades in tangible assets? Which market normally trades in tangible assets, or which stock exchange normally trades in tangible assets? You can know that which the people can tell the answers.
Sir, secondary market only, no, sir?
No, not secondary market is for when you purchase from the primary market, then only the particular thing will be traded. I'm asking you which market the tangible assets are, or you can say which exchange normally the tangible assets will be traded.
Commodity market, sir.
Yeah, commodities. So that is the prime thing over here, right? So the wheat, whatever the wholesale market, we have the wheat, right? Rice, pulses, maize, oil, gold, right? So these are your commodity market. And when it comes to the derivatives market, here you have both type. You can deal with the tangible or intangible, right? And there is no concept of market lot, no market lot. We have the lot sizes and all. We later go get into that, right? No market lot. So market lot is nothing but the contract size of what I'm talking about, right? So contract size, how much contract size you have, the volume of the contracts. So here we have the concept of market lot. Yes, market lot is there. Contract size is very, very important in the derivatives market. So normally in derivative markets, we are not buying and purchasing any assets. Normally we have to hedge the risk. The main purpose is to hedge risk in the derivatives market. Then here the last thing, normally we don't go for the risk bearing capacity over here. There's no intention of risk bearing capacity. Normally the parties who enter into that, they only have the notion that their capital may appreciate, right? So losing the present benefits or losing the current benefits, whether that particular amount has to be invested in bank, they would be investing in buying a shares. So these parties never have the intention of to risk bear the capital. Only aim is to increase their capital. So capital appreciation is that, even though we know that there are some risk averse investors, okay, non-risk averse investors. People know that when you have read your investment management, right? So while purchasing this market, one has to consider its payment capacity. So how much payment you can do. So payment capacity is more important compared to the risk bearing capacity. Okay, here one has to deal with only with the risk bearing capacity, not with the payment. Okay, here risk bearing capacity is not important over here. Here payment capacity is very important. Suppose, see how far you want to buy one share also. For if say suppose one share of say Toyota Motors or whatever the things, if it is trading at say 1120, you cannot able to buy at least 10 or 20 shares you will be buying. So how much will be the cost for that? You multiply into how much you'll be getting.
So 22,400, sir.
Yeah, 22,400. So you should have 22,400 in your hand to buy the Toyota Motor shares, 20 shares of Toyota Motors, right? So see here mainly we are concerned with only payment. So here we are mostly concerned with the risk bearing capacity. So this thing, these terms, people have known, right? Then, so what is this derivative I'm talking about? Say derivative in simple terms, derive. You can say this is nothing but derive. So you have to derive the value from some other assets or from the underlying variables. So put it more simple is derivative is nothing but the financial instruments. Financial instruments whose value, normally it's value, right? The financial instruments value depends on, or I can say derives its value from an underlying variables. From underlying variables, right? So suppose you have the financial instrument. Financial instrument could be anything, or the underlying variable is nothing but your underlying assets. So what could be the underlying variables what you're talking about? It could be your, suppose you have the, what are the various financial instruments which is available in the market? People can list out it.
Sir, equity shares,
Okay,
preference shares.
equity shares. No, if preference shares will not come. Equity shares which is traded in the market.
Sir, then
You tell me those
debentures, sir.
instruments. You can put it bond. Then
Debentures, sir.
now debentures which comes under bond only, right? I would put it as bond. Then you have several instruments available. If people forget the financial services,
So
what you have read.
loans,
Mortgages, that can be also done. Then
So can house property be considered? Or that's the same thing as mortgage, sorry.
a mortgage only. Everything comes under mortgage. Then you have a lot of things that then you have the interest rates. Okay, those are can be considered as the financial instruments. So normally you have the equity shares, right? Suppose I take example of equity shares of SPA. Okay, it is 120. Okay, the same way you can have the contract with the F&O segment, futures and option segment of SBA, the F&O of SBA. Okay, suppose you have the forward or the futures of SBA. Okay, the futures of SBA prices will depend on the prices which move here. Okay, so if it is zero means it has no value. So that is the thing over here, right? So as I progress, I'll be telling you with the examples. Don't worry about that. So today itself, I don't want to just put into more mathematical part. So that I thought that the terms has to be clarified today, then only you'll be getting into the main thing over there. So let me give you the types of derivatives, then we'll be ending the lecture. So tomorrow we'll be getting into the main part. So today we have discussed only the 5 marks part, right? So what are the various types of derivatives which is available? You remember that there is more than enough. Okay. So we have forwards. Okay, we have forwards. Then we have the futures, and we have the options. Forwards, futures, and options. Then we have the separate thing called swaps. Right? So we have these separate things as swaps. So from this, we have to have the interlinkages. So we have to read a lot of interlinkages between the so from the forwards, we have to go for the various instruments that we have to see. Okay, we have to see about the interest rate, then we have to see about the foreign exchange rate. Then we have to see the interlinkages of forwards and interest rates with some models. Right? So everything is involved. So here we'll be seeing about the currency forwards, currency futures, currency options, currency swaps. The same way we want to see about interest rate forwards, interest futures, interest options, interest swaps. So it will get more complicated when we add the, so here the underlying instrument, the underlying asset is nothing but the interest rate and currency. So in our syllabus, it is entirely dealing with the currencies only, currencies and interest rate. So our underlying asset is currency and interest rate. Okay, not our equity prices, but we have one examples with the help of the bonds also. Okay, the bonds is also an instrument for us. In that also we'll be seeing, and some part of thing is that we'll be dealing with some of the commodities, which is more important. Even it is there in your syllabus. Okay, bonds, we have dealt with the euro bonds. Okay, then UK bonds. At that time, we have to see about the interrelationship between the forwards of the bonds, forwards of the futures. Bonds have their own unique nature, so we'll be dealing with something different. So we'll be combining the instruments and we'll be doing this, right? So from tomorrow we'll be getting a little bit technical nature. So today you remember what are the types of derivative. You remember forward, futures, options, and swaps. Forwards is nothing but already we have forwards are mostly OTC in nature. Futures are mostly exchange traded. Remember that. Then option is also OTC in nature. Swaps is OTC in nature. Right? So this OTC platform is the dominant thing where we'll be dealing with. Futures are mostly exchange traded. Even options, nowadays options also OTC and exchange traded. Okay, OTC and exchange traded. So you just remember this one. So which type of market normally this derivative instruments deal? That is enough, right? So today we have seen. So we have started with the derivative markets with the some of the terminologies: open outcry, electronic trading, what the difference between OTC and exchange traded. Then who are the users of derivatives market? We have seen the difference between cash market and derivative market. Then we have seen about the types of derivatives. So tomorrow we'll be getting into a little bit in technicality in nature. So tomorrow I will be taking the topic very, very slow because it is a little bit mathematical sense is involved in that. So I'll be literally going very, very slow by explaining the concepts. So don't think that why sir is taking very slow, because conceptual understanding is very important. If I start running it, then it is useless to, because this concept has to be grasped very well. Then only we can switch over this part. Then we have to switch on to the statistical models, because we have the Black-Scholes option pricing models and all that you have to remember. Then you have to see about the put call parity models. Then you have some VAR models that we have to see and all. Then only you can understand, because these are asked for 10 marks actually. Examiner will be asking this for 5 marks, and this is asked for 10 marks, and this is asked for 10 marks. So you have to remember how the examiner is putting weightages on this. So that's why I have to more concentrate on the conceptual part. Then only I'll be speeding up when I get into this. Right. So with that, is there any clarification of today's session?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. So thank you then.